So this is the Rossignol XV 163 on the table under the pretty lights again. And got it because I was getting all the XV boards to compare, and kind of want to show you something here with the flashlight. Kind of cool. You know, they're not as specific with this as they are with the others about the light frame technology, but you can see kind of like through a lot of this, you know, this area here, there seems to be some, you know, maybe some light frame technology going on here as well, or just kind of milled out core, but you can see it kind of popping up through in various areas throughout the board. See, even peeking through the darkness there. But kind of like light frame stringers. You know, which looks like maybe more of a, you know, a little more of an EVA dampening system. And also, look at this, just massively aggressive magnet traction in the middle, tapering all the way out to just barely, just real chill little bumps. So let me throw it this way so you can see a little more here. Really just like 3 aggressive bumps in the middle, you know, and then some mellower bumps after. And if you check the on the table reviews of like the sashimi and the sashimi light and the sushi light, you'll just see this has some taper to it. I think it's like between 8 and 12 millimeters of taper, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of more that traditional free ride that most of us in North America know. You know, kind of that traditional tapered directional shape that most of us know. A little bit longer, but you can see there's a little bit more nose going on than tail. And if you're wondering what this is, I hope you never use it unless you're as good as Xavier. But this is a hole put in so he can put a rope so that he can then attach the board to him and carry it up some of the ascents he's making. Fucking just batshit crazy, man. Batshit crazy. But anyways, you know, you can see this kind of shape here and, you know, this tapered directional look. But let's take a look at the camber profile. You know, it varies from board to board, but you can see where the rocker begins and the camber begins. So this is where the camber begins and this is where the rocker begins. There's a little more rocker in the nose than in the tail. I think it's like 60% camber, 40% rocker, and you know, you can see it kind of just moving up before the nose starts. So it really has you know, small tail, big nose, decent amount of taper, but you know, it likes a little bit posy and a little more drive, a lot of back foot weight, but you know, that kind of posy, slightly posy back foot weight really helps hold this. And you know, you really gotta, it does feel a little more surfy or slashy or washy, whatever you want to call it, off the tail than a lot of boards with the same amount of taper that we've ridden lately. But you can see this camber here. Wood cures differently board to board. I've seen some XVs with a lot more camber and some with less, so it really depends, but it's a fun board to carve. Let's talk about width. We've got, you know, readers want to know how wide is it off the back foot. And we're looking at just about 26.4, 26.5, and you got 2, 4, 6 inserts, unlike the sashimi and sushi. And the, you know, you'll get various waves in the magnet traction here. Wait a sec, did I say 26? Yes, I did. I said 26.4. And then up front here in this tapered part, right before a magnet traction bump, kind of in the inside of it, you're looking at 25.6, 25.7, somewhere around there. Give or take a millimeter or two. Now, if you go up to the front foot, you're looking at just about probably 25.9, 26, and then you're coming up to, you know, like 26.7, 26.8 centimeters there. So, you know, that gives you an idea of your boots and how they fit, because you always have to factor in the taper of the tail and not just focus on the waist width. But also, like, if you look at the waist width, it's kind of the beginning. You know, let's see, who knows what's perfectly centered, you know, if this is perfectly centered or this, but there are some bumps here. So, you know, that could help a little bit with, you know, making the waist width seem bigger than it is. But let's talk about setback on board, which is kind of a fun thing to do. So Rossi boards, this Rossi XV doesn't have the setback of the sushi or sashimi and has a slightly different camber profile, but still, if you go to the back insert on a traditional disc binding and the back insert off the back foot on a traditional disc binding, you're looking at a you know, a difference between nose and tail at a 22-inch stance width of, you're looking at a difference between nose and tail of 6.5 inches or 3.25 inches back on board, which is kind of, you know, about what, you know, kind of on the good side of, you know, traditional free ride. So you're getting a decent setback on board, and then you combine a little bit of the taper in the tail, you know, a good bit of rocker, much bigger nose than tail. You're getting some very good directional float. And, you know, it can bite a little bit with this aggressive magnet traction and really softer, wetter snow, but it's definitely something you can get used to. This base, I waxed it and scraped it because I was comparing this against some of my free ride favorite boards, and check that comparison out. It's very detailed. This is like one of our, you know, hard snow favorites because of its consistency underfoot and this aggressive magnet traction. But as far as bases go, it was probably the least glidey of our favorites group. It's still kind of mid, upper mid, you know, but it just didn't have that stellar glide in the snow we tried it in. But you know, it's not terrible either, but it would need a good waxing and maybe a second one and really get it going for it to glide well. But it doesn't really have the lows either. Rossi bases, though, can get a little sticky, and that's kind of maybe one area. I wouldn't even mind seeing a little more camber, you know. Maybe take the camber all the way to the tail like they did, but you have a little more camber after the inserts with this guy than you would with others. But you know, it's still a pretty good, fun all-around ride, and it's one of those boards we've had so much fun on over the years. And this is a 63, and it just really rides small on groomers and big in powder, meaning it turns quickly on groomers, and circle car is really easy. Even the 67, I've ridden the 63 and 67 back and forth, owned this 63, and it's just a good time all around. And a great board for those who see icy conditions but want to be ready for when it gets deep. There you have it.